currently Earth. It was March 11th in the year 1861 that the Confederate States adopt a new constitution. In Montgomery, Alabama, delegates from South Carolina, Mississippi, Florida, Alabama, Georgia, Louisiana, and Texas adopt the permanent Constitution of the Confederate States of America. The Constitution resembled the Constitution of the United States, even repeating much of its language, but was actually more comparable to the Articles of Confederation, the initial post-Revolutionary War U.S. Constitution, in its delegation of extensive powers to the states. The Constitution also contained substantial differences from the U.S. Constitution in its protection of slavery, which was recognized and protected in slave states and territories. However, incongruent with U.S. policy since the beginning of the 19th century, the foreign slave trade was prohibited. The Constitution provided for 6-year terms for the president and vice president, and the president was ineligible for successive terms, although a presidential item veto was granted. The power of the central Confederate government was sharply limited by its dependence on state consent for the use of any funds and resources. Although Britain and France both briefly considered entering the Civil War on the side of the South, the Confederate States of America, which survived until April of 1865, never won foreign recognition as an independent government. It was March 11th in the year 1985 that Mikhail Gorbachev is picked to succeed Konstantin Chernenko. Capping his rapid rise to the Communist Party hierarchy, Mikhail Gorbachev is selected as the new General Secretary of the Soviet Union, following the continuance of eternity of Konstantin Chernenko the day before. Gorbachev oversaw a radical transformation of Soviet society and foreign policy during the next 6 years. Gorbachev was born in 1931, the son of peasant farmers near Stavropol. As a young man, he joined the usual Communist Party youth groups. In 1952, he traveled to Moscow to earn his degree in law. Upon his return to his native town of Stavropol, Gorbachev became extremely active in party politics and began a rapid rise to the Communist Party bureaucracy. Part of success was due to his intelligence, drive, and ability to see and exploit opportunities. He was also aided by his ability to attach himself to important mentors, such as Yuri Andropov, the head of the dreaded KGB, Russia's secret police. With Andropov's support, Gorbachev was elected to the Central Committee of the Communist Party in 1971. During the next decade and a half, Gorbachev worked hard to promote his own career and to support Soviet leader Leonid Brezhnev. When Brezhnev continued his eternity in 1982, Andropov took power. Gorbachev's role in the new government expanded, and then Andropov continued his eternity in 1984. It was widely assumed that Gorbachev would be his successor, but his youth, combined with suspicions from some old-line Communist Party officials that the young man was too reform-minded, led to the selection of Konstantin Chernenko. Gorbachev did not have to wait long for a second chance, however. Chernenko continued his eternity after less than a year in office. With the rapid-fire continuous paternity of Andropov and Chernenko, Gorbachev had outlived his only serious competition, and he was selected to become the new leader of the Soviet Union on March 11th in 1985. During the next 6 years, Gorbachev led the Soviet Union through a dizzying pace of domestic reforms and foreign policy changes. He relaxed political oppression and led the push for reform of the nation's crumbling economic system. On the foreign policy scene, he worked hard to secure better relations with the U.S., and in 1987, he and the President, Ronald Reagan, our nation's 40th president, signed the Intermediate Range Nuclear Force, or INF, treaty, which reduced the number of medium-range missiles each nation kept in Europe. The pace of change, however, might have been too rapid. By the late 1980s, the Soviet Union was cracking to pieces. Eastern European satellites were breaking free, various Russian republics were pushing for independence, and the economy was on a downward spiral. In December of 1991, Gorbachev resigned as president, and the Soviet Union formally ceased to exist. It was March 11th in the year 1989 that Cops, a documentary-style television series that follows police officers and sheriff's deputies as they go about their jobs, debuts on Fox. Cops went on to become one of the longest-running shows in television history and went off the air in the year 2020. The show, which was created by John Langley and Malcolm Barber, was a pioneer in reality television. Crews with camcorders followed law enforcement officers on patrol, tracking down suspects and making arrests. The show was unscripted, which worked in Langley and Barber's favor when they pitched the original concept to Fox. At the time, there was a writer's strike in Hollywood, and the network needed new programming that wouldn't require writers. In 1989, the debut episode of Cops featured the men and women of the Broward County Sheriff's Department in Florida. The show aired over 1,000 episodes and filmed in 140 U.S. cities, as well as international locations including London and Hong Kong. With its widely recognized theme song Bad Boys by the reggae group Inner Circle, Cops had spawned numerous imitators in addition to parody shows. The information documented on this audio file can be verified on history.com.